everyone. Good afternoon. We will start in next 2 minutes. Just waiting for a few more speakers to join. Yes, just 2 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon. Before I start, am I audible and can be seen? Anyone can just... Okay.
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey, and on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our presenting partner, Exotel, we welcome you all on our roundtable, Adoption of Cloud Communication for Digital Transformation in Insurance Sector. Before we start the roundtable, there are a few guidelines that I would quickly like to highlight, requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. We would have a Q&A with all the thought leaders today. So you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, your name, company, designation, and put your question to the concerned speaker. These are the certain guidelines. Also, there are a few people who have logged in through a different name or a gadget, requesting you to please rename yourself with a registered name so that we can share the video after the session with you guys. So before I start, I would quickly like to give a brief about our partner, Exotel. Exotel is one of the Asia's largest cloud telephony companies, working with 4,500 plus businesses, including top enterprises and startups. They solve communication problem for various industries, be it like automobile, e-commerce, cab aggregators, BFSI, or fintech. Exotel is a secure and a reliable business phone system on a cloud, simple to set up, no additional infrastructure or equipment required. It enables sales and support team irrespective of where they work from. Now, moving to our first session, I would first like to invite a keynote speaker, Mr. Raman Kishore, Head of ABM with Exotel. And he is here with us today to share his interesting insights on adoption of cloud communication for digital transformation in insurance sector. Over to you, Raman, and thank you for being here today with us.
Hi guys. Thank you so much, Ekta. Firstly, let me just share my screen. Just 1 second. I guess able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, Raman.
Yeah. Okay, super. All right, guys. Firstly, thank you everyone for making it for the roundtable. I think, you guys have been taking your time off. I think almost this Diwali, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. We'll get started. So I'm going to be talking about basically adoption of cloud communication that's actually driving the digital transformation in the insurance industry. That's basically what I'm going to be talking about today. Before we get started, let me just give you a quick intro about myself. Like Ekta mentioned, I actually head enterprise marketing, or what we call ABM marketing at Exital. And basically my role involves engaging with really large enterprises, again, ranging from different industries, BFSI, again, within BFSI, banking, insurance, fintech, and broking companies, and also other industries like, say, FMCG, automobile, e-commerce, and 3PL, and both in Southeast Asia and India region, to actually help them create a smart and also a personalized communication platform. So we basically enable the entire communication platform that actually benefits them both operationally and financially. So that's basically what we do, what I do at Exital. Let's get started. In fact, today's agenda, this is basically what we're going to be talking about today. So majorly we're going to be talking about three things. I mean, point one being that we're going to be talking about what is the general overview, or how does insurance industry look like today as of now, right? Since the pandemic, and how has it evolved, and where it is right now. And second thing that we'll also be talking about is what are some of the key challenges, specifically what are the key communication challenges that actually exist in the insurance industry. And the third thing that we'll also be talking about is how Exital, or rather how any cloud communication platform for that matter, is actually help drive this entire digital transformation, and also help optimize various processes within the insurance industry. So these are the three major things that we're going to be talking about today. So let's get started. In fact, this is actually a research that was done by the Swiss Re Institute. So this actually gives you a quick overview of what the insurance market looks like in Asia during the pandemic specifically. In fact, if you see closely, the value of the life insurance market, especially around Asia, is in the range of 140 billion, if I'm not wrong, right? And that of non-life insurance is in the range of 54 billion. And in fact, if you also observe, you'll see that the life insurance premium actually has grown by 7% since 2019, specifically in the Indian market, though other Asian markets have actually seen a dip in this particular sector. But again, when it comes to non-insurance market, again, it has actually slowed down by almost 6%. So in fact, with the lockdown actually causing a huge hitch in this business, in fact, the general insurance market has actually, you could say, it's kind of suffered in the year 2020 and 2021, right? But again, the overall sector is actually believed to look good, or is believed to look up, as the global economy actually stabilizes by the year 2022. So this was the research that was actually done by Swiss Re Institute. Again, in fact, until before the pandemic, actually, the insurance industry was actually on specifically in India, they were actually on track to finish the year 2020 really, really strong. In fact, the life insurance was expected to grow to almost 31%, and that of non-life actually looking to grow by almost 14% from the year 2019. But again, once the pandemic hit it, despite, again, a lot of measures were actually taken to enable all the essential services that actually allowed all of these insurance companies to actually continue functioning even after the lockdown. But again, even after all these implementation being done, there was, again, the impact of COVID actually resulted in some decline in most of these products, to be honest, right? In fact, if you see, the life insurance products actually declined by almost 25 to 30%, and from year on year, from 2019 to when compared to 2020. Again, since again, because of this, most of the insurance companies actually started moving to an online direct to consumer channels, right? Again, primarily to facilitate insurance purchase, policy administrations, and also claims. In fact, what insurance company also started doing was they started empowering agents, brokers, again, bank assured partners with actually technology and tools that actually enabled digitally assisted sales, right? This actually helped improve a lot of things. I mean, even from before, right? It helped improve productivity, it helped improve customer experience, and it also gave an option of doing all of this from a remote location, right? So, which actually had a lot of benefits at a later point. In fact, the COVID-19, the pandemic actually brought about a major shift in the perception of insurance among both consumers and the insurance providers, if you think about it, right? So it actually changed the way insurance operates also, you could say, in a way. In fact, for consumers, the use of digital channels for specifically insurance purposes has actually increased by quite a bit in the last 1 year. And in fact, consumers are actually looking for better customizations and more targeted products since the pandemic, since the online sales has actually increased. In fact, with the increasing focus on actually contactless transaction, more and more consumers are actually turning to online modes of buying and also renewing their policies. Again, this has actually prompted insurance companies to offer, again, digitally enabled omni-channel systems, again, primarily for bettering their online functionalities. Again, in fact, according to one of the research that was done by Modern Intelligence, it's actually expected that the online insurance market is looking to grow rapidly, in fact, to almost a 220 billion market in the year 2024. In fact, I mean, this is what the insurance industry looks like at this point, right? While it looks like this at this point, there are still some key challenges that exist in the industry. Again, I'm going to be talking specific to communication challenges. Again, most of the challenges that you see is primarily from the communication that we had and the working relationship that we have with some of the top companies that are there in the industry, right? So in fact, for insurance companies, a primary aspect of customer experience is actually how a company communicates with its customer, right? I'm sure you'll agree with me on that. In fact, customers of insurance companies typically switch to another competitor because of lack of relevant and also timely information on all the value of the products, right? So if you think about it, communication is rarely prioritized after the sale of a policy, right? So in fact, when I actually buy a policy, the next time that I actually hear from that person is during the time of policy renewal, right? Again, in most cases. In fact, according to a recent study that was actually done by Bain, 1 out of every 5 insurance buyers actually had multiple problems, ranging from needing more personalized advice and to also slow and complicated processes, right, for claim renewal and etc. And in fact, some of these again, some of the major reasons why that actually underlines the importance of communications would be like actually retaining customers is a lot less expensive than acquiring new customers. Again, gaining trust with existing customers is actually much easier than from a new customer, right? And also, customers are actually interested in knowing details of handling claims by themselves, and they also want answers to questions a lot quicker now and more efficiently as well, right? So and in fact, communication on intrinsic value of the insurance product becomes very essential, primarily because customers usually seek for the policy with the lowest price point. Again, all of these points actually shows us that how important communication is between the insurance company and the customer. In fact, insurance companies have actually they actually face several challenges to deliver the relevant message at the right time using the right channel, right? So this is one of the major challenges that most companies face. I mean, apart from this, there are other challenges that also that's being faced in the industry. Again, so some of the challenges are like mentioned on the slide. I think one will dig deeper into it in the coming slides. I think the first one would be inconsistent and manual customer communication. Again, most of the processes are actually very manual at this point. Again, we'll dig deeper into this in the next slide. And the second thing is lack of actionable sales insights. There's a lot of data available when it comes to customers. But again, not all of these data are very actionable. Again, the third and fourth point are basically insufficient proof of customer interactions and ineffective agent and partner communication. Okay, I'll probably go a little deeper in the next slide. In fact, there's definitely been a huge growth in the cloud communication adoption in the past year or so. In fact, just to give you an example, at Exotel itself, we onboarded more than 20 plus companies, specifically 20 plus large enterprises, specifically from the BFSI segment, ranging between banking, insurance companies, broking, and etc. In fact, working with some of these top insurance companies, we've actually identified the challenges that I mentioned, and also some of the solutions to these challenges that may actually help address these challenges. We'll look at all of them one by one. In fact, we've seen that from all our interactions, cloud communication can actually help various teams that you can see on your slide. It can increase, it can help the sales and underwriting team, the claims and support team, and the retention team, and the CX team, and etc. Right? So most of these customer-facing teams can actually benefit from having a cloud communication enabled on their platform. Let's look at them one by one, right? So let's look at the sales and underwriting team. In fact, there was a research that was done again by McKinsey, I think, which actually suggests implementing digital underwriting practices and modernizing the entire distribution channel to actually combat some of the challenges that was thrown during the pandemic. And that was something that was suggested by them. And in fact, like what you see on the slide is some of the solutions that we've actually implemented for these companies through the use of cloud communication. In fact, one of the major ones was automating the entire outbound communication process. Since everyone moved to an online selling process, I think automating most of these communications also became very important to make the entire process a lot more seamless and efficient, right? When you're looking at scale, automation becomes a key factor. And here's where your automated call campaigns and your automated SMS campaigns and etc. becomes very important. Again, this can be used in various processes. It can be used at selling. It can be used for onboarding or even assisted document collection process and etc. Imagine I'm looking to purchase a policy and I'm stuck at one of the document collection pages, and imagine I immediately get an automated call to say, okay, hi Raman, you're currently stuck at so and so page, you need to upload so and so document to go forward, right? And it becomes a lot more clearer that way. And in fact, this entire conversation can become conversational also, right? So these are some of the things that are being implemented in the industry right now, and that actually assist the sales and underwriting teams. The other major area where a cloud communication player could actually help these teams are basically protecting the leads that are coming in, right? So in fact, most of the insurance companies actually work with a lot of partners, right? They could be banking partners, OEM partners, and etc. from where they get their leads from. Again, most of these partners are actually not very comfortable in sharing these leads or sharing the actual number of the customer with the end agents, right? The end agents who are on the field and calling these customers, primarily due to privacy concerns, security concerns, and also they're afraid of lead leakage also happening, right? So how do we actually solve this? So in fact, what we enabled for these companies is that we actually help them mask all these numbers so that the end agents do not have access to the actual private numbers of these customers. So they'll be calling through a masked number, like how you would actually call your Uber driver. Similarly, that calling also will work. So this way, the partners also feel protected, and the insurance company also has complete control over what is happening on the field. So in fact, these are a couple of areas where we were able to actually help the entire process, the sales process, become more efficient. Let's talk about the claims and support team, right? In fact, according to the World Insurance Report, 60% of the incoming support queries were actually static queries, which does not really require a human intervention, And in fact, more than 72% of insurance buyers actually say that digitally integrated ecosystem actually help them reach customers in their preferred manner and answer their service request correctly and much faster. In fact, again, these are some of the solutions that was actually implemented specifically for the claims and support teams. Again, tracking customer interactions. Again, it becomes very, very important to track all of these incoming calls as well, and also having to add a layer of automation on top of it, right? So that actually reduces the load on your team, especially when you have a hybrid system, which is what is happening right now, where some of your employees are working from home, some of them are working from office. Generally, you're not at full capacity, right? So you would ideally want to reduce the load on your team. So I think having an automated layer would actually help you do that, right? And secondly, having sorry. All right. Secondly, the other thing that people also are looking at is personalization at scale, right? Which is something which is also actually a challenge at this point. And that is something where a cloud communication player can actually add a lot of value. Personalized conversational like voice bots that can actually give you a feel of an actual human, right? So these are some of the areas which actually help the claims and support teams. Renewals. In fact, as rightly mentioned by one of our customers, renewal premiums they actually mentioned renewal premiums are actually our industry's lifeline. Of course, right? This is one of the most important process in the entire insurance industry. So in fact, again, some of the areas where like some two major challenges that is faced by this team, right, by the renewals team, is one, automation, right? Lack of automation. That is one thing that a lot of them face. And two, also pickup rates. Right now, most of the insurance that happens, like insurance calls that happens, are kind of manual, right? Again, most of them have implemented automated systems, but again, it is not very personalized. It's not the most seamless. It doesn't use a lot of data that is there within the system, and etc. Right? So that lack of automation is something that is a challenge at this point. And secondly, pickup rates. That is, you have a huge collection team or huge renewal team who are calling your customers day in, day out. But again, if the average pickup rate for each of these guys are much, much lesser, right? They're almost in the range of 10 to 15% or max 20%, right? So these two are some of the major concerns for the insurance industry. I mean, the renewal teams in specific. So how do we actually help them, right? One, obviously, like I told you earlier, automating most of these. Like imagine having automated trigger-based calls while I'm on the page or while I'm renewing, or using my data to basically give me a right message at the right time through a call or an SMS or a chat or whatever it is, right? That is one part of the automation. That is having the cloud communication deeply integrated with your system so that it analyzes the data and sends the right message to the right person at the right time. So all your 30-day DPTs, 60-day DPTs, and etc. can be completely automated, right? All these renewal calls and etc. And the second part is basically the pickup rates, where again, why is the pickup rate on the lower end? Primarily because of Truecaller spam alerts, right? Most of them mark the calls as spam on Truecallers. And secondly, most of the calls that goes out through one number, right? Which is very identifiable from customers, one or two numbers. So what we did was basically we took both of these challenges and tried to turn them around. So now every call that goes to a customer goes from a different number each time that a call goes to the same customer. And secondly, we also have a partnership with Truecaller where we actually help whitelist all these numbers so that they're not marked as spam on Truecaller. So this actually helped bump up the entire pickup rate for most of this, for most of the renewal teams from the insurance industry. So these are actually some major areas where we were able to address the renewal challenge. Again, retention again is one of the major problem. In fact, when it comes to retention, predicting customers who are actually at risk was one of the primary functions of the retention team, right? Again, this would actually help improve their efficiency majorly. In fact, what companies are doing right now, they're actually using voice streaming actually combined with AI analytics to basically I mean to have through the use of cloud telephony solutions to retrieve a lot of call insights on every customer. From every call that's happening with every customer, this actually tells you exactly which customer is at risk and what time he or she should be contacted, what should they be contacted with, right? Having a deeply integrated system like this actually helps your retention team identify who are the customers who are at risk of leaving, and they can be contacted at the right time. So this is something that we've been able to work with companies for. Lastly, again, the CX teams, that is the CX evaluation teams. In fact, to enhance customer experience and to also improve your CSAT scores, I think that's one of the primary functions of most of these teams, right? So we actually work with some of the largest insurance companies to, again, help automate some of these processes and also enable these processes for remote agents as well, right? So that they can all be tracked and they can all be also ensure that the productivity is on point and etc. So these are all some of the solutions where most of these teams can actually benefit from. So you again using cloud communication as a base platform. Yeah. So again, these are all some of the challenges that actually we were able to solve for most of these companies, for most of the teams within the same company, within the same industry, and we were able to actually help them derive more efficiency and also more productivity, even when they were actually working remote, right? So I mean, apart from this, there are other values also that actually a cloud communication player like Excel would bring in. One obviously is also to improve your brand value. Every time actually a call goes out, or say an SMS or a chat or a WhatsApp message, whatever goes out, your brand is actually republished each and every time. So that actually improves your brand recall value. And secondly, cloud communication is all about remote access to communication, right? So there is no actual on-prem system or EP-based system that you need to invest in. So there is no capex at all involved. So it's all about only operational cost. So it becomes a lot more financially beneficial for you using a cloud communication platform. Again, the third thing is it also improves your overall customer experience. We actually just saw how at each stage customer experience is actually enhanced using different solutions. And in fact, it also gives you complete insight. Again, this is one of the most important factors where you get a lot of insight into every customer call that happens, right from tracking the call recordings, call emotions, going one step further to understand what words are being used so that you can use that to the customer and etc. Right? So you'll have a complete 360-degree view of what is happening to a customer, right from when you start selling to him, what happens after selling to him, what happens during the process of him holding your policy, and what happens during the renewal and etc. Everything tracked in just one place, right? All the call recordings, all the call analytics and everything. So that kind of data, imagine how much you can actually do with that kind of data. And the other things are obviously gaining an edge over the competition, and also it has a direct impact on your sales numbers. This is something that we have seen, like just by improving pickup rates and automating some of the process, we have actually seen a jump in sales conversion rate and also renewal rates. So in fact, these are some of the customers whom we actually work with. Again, CAMS and say Reliance Nippon Insurance are some companies that we very, very closely work with. And again, some of the use cases that we work with these guys are what I just mentioned to you. For example, with CAMS, when they went remote, I think a lot of their teams wanted a remote application that they can use to talk to their customers. So we were able to seamlessly shift them from an on-prem system to a completely offline system. Now they're actually working on a hybrid system as well, right? So which again is powered by us. And similarly for Reliance Nippon Insurance as well, for all their field agents, they're able to track all the activities and productivities and the calls that is done by them by monitoring all their calls and performance through Exetel again. So that is something that we've been able to help them with. So these are some of the areas where we were able to actually help the entire industry. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think I overshot the time by a little bit. So if you
Yes.
have any questions, please, we
Sure.
can ask.
Thank you, Raman, for sharing interesting insights. I have already mentioned in the chat box, we can take one question because we should be on time. So any questions, or after the panel, of course, we have all the speakers and Raman will be also here. So we can take the question that time as well. So anyone, any question to Raman, please put it. We'll take one question and then we move on to our interesting fireside chat session. Okay. No problem, Raman. I think as the discussion goes on, we might have questions coming in. Yeah. So let's move to an interesting roundtable discussion. So moving forward to our roundtable discussion, the topic which is reimagining the customer experience using cloud communication. And I'm happy to introduce our speakers today. To start with, we have Mr. Deepu KV, President Operations and Customer Experience with Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. We have Mr. Kamlesh Manuja, COO with Edelweiss Tokyo Life Insurance. We have Mr. Aftab Alvi, President with Shriram General Insurance Company Limited. Dr. Abhijit V. Ghosh, VP with ICICI Lombard. Ms. Priyanka Sareen, Lead Digital Marketing Agency Channel, Edelweiss General Insurance Company Limited. Mr. Anshuman Verma, Board Advisor with Shift All Capital. And Mr. Aftab Chaz, Associate Director, Digital Sales with Elephant Insurance. And now I would also like to invite our moderator for the session, Shubha Sundaram, ABM Lead with Exotel, to take the session over. Thank you all the speakers for being here today with us. Shubha, over to you. Shubha, you are on mute, I guess.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, Shubha.
Am I audible?
Yes, Shubha, you are.
Yeah. Thanks, Ekta, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Shubha from Exotel. It's my pleasure to moderate the session today. The topic for today's session is reimagining the customer experience using cloud communication. Before we begin, we have a strong panel with us. Let's do a quick round of introduction. Please join me in welcoming Deepu, President of Operation and Customer Experience from Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. Welcome, Deepu, sir.
Thank you, Subha, and looking forward to a good discussion with everyone today.
Thanks. Next is Kamlesh Manuja, COO of Edelweiss Tokyo Life Insurance. Welcome, Kamlesh.
Thank you, Shubha. Look forward for an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Dr. Abhijit V. Ghosh, VP of ICICI Lombard. Welcome, Dr. Abhijit. Abhijit, you are on mute. Yeah. Ekta,
Yes.
yeah.
I think we are not able to hear Dr. Abhijit Ghosh. So what you can do is you can try rejoining again. Maybe there is some issue.
Priyanka Saran, Lead Digital Marketing Agency, Channel Edelweiss General Insurance Company Limited. Hi, Priyanka.
Hi, Shubha. Priyanka this side. Yes, actually the initial discussion or the presentation given was quite interesting. Actually, it covers and summarizes the problems that one has faced in the insurance industry during the entire COVID period. So I don't think if I'll be able to top it up because it's so well-rounded and beautifully presented. But yes, looking forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thanks, Priyanka. Next is Aftab Alvi, President of Shriram General Insurance Co. Welcome, Aftab.
Good afternoon, Shubha. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, Aftab.
The presentation is itself the roundtable discussion, and all the panelists are somehow the other, like my friend Deepu. All the people who are digitally connected very well. I think I'm the least one because I'm a simple salesperson, and Ekta persuaded me so much. I thought, let me attend. I thought it will be a great learning for me today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aftab. Next, Anshuman Verma, Board Advisor of Shift Capital. Welcome, Anshuman.
Hi, Shubha. Thank you for inviting me today. Look forward to discussing with the August panel of people from the industry. It's a good presentation to set the ball rolling, but I'm sure people have huge amount of insights and nuggets to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Aftab. Next is Aftab Chaz, Associate Director of Digital Sales Elephant. I think so. There are two of the here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shiva, so much for inviting me to the round conference. Thanks to Ekta as well. And Aftab, even I'm into the sales front, so I was supposed to get into the roundtable discussion. But I must say, I think the presentation presented by Raman is a holistic one. It covers a lot of facts and figures. It jot down all the troubles that we as an insurance industry are facing with regards to customer on the digital front. And I think I'm really looking forward to the roundtable discussions with all you senior people out there. Probably I'm the youngest in the roundtable conference, but looking forward to it. Thank you, Shiva.
Thanks, Ekta. So looking forward to have insightful discussion with all of you. So anyway, Raman gave an insightful presentation. Thanks, Raman, for it. You have actually set up the context for today's discussion by talking about the requirements as well as the trends, especially around the communication side for the insurance sector. Let's deep dive into the discussion. The first part of the discussion, let's start with the communication strategy each of the company has adopted. During the pandemic time, I suppose before pandemic, insurance has always followed a traditional way of selling, where the relationship between the insurance agent and the customer were some of the key aspect of how it was sold in our country, where most of the agents used to have a long-term relationship, whom you know very well and you can trust on your money. Even when I started taking my policy, my father introduced me to his friend, so that's how even I have also started taking policy. But with remote selling and remote servicing, how has the relationship affected between the sales agent and the customer? How your customer interaction has been impacted, and how have you curated your customer communication strategies around that? Deepu, starting I would like to get your thoughts around that.
Yeah. Thank you, Sabha. And, good to hear from everyone. See, if you look at the point that you made, insurance is still a push product. It's distribution led, and typically it happens, through a conversational sale. So what has essentially happened in the pandemic is, while the principles have remained the same, the form factor has changed. So, for example, people had to recalibrate their own approach, to contactless sales. That's how the interaction happened between the firm and the distributor, and of course, the distributors and customers. And from a communication perspective, I think we just leveraged, an omni-channel approach. So what happened at the peak of the pandemic, I'm going back, 18, 19 months, was we just embarked on a massive, communication blitzkrieg, whether it was, tickers on websites, whether it was SMS, whether it was WhatsApp, email, word of mouth, whatever you call, whatever, channel you can think of, we just reached out to all our customers. That really helped because, they didn't have to push the panic button when contact centers, had to kind of, get into skeletal mode because of the lockdown. And customers, were able to overnight, migrate to all our digital assets, right? Whether it was AI-driven bot or WhatsApp or the mobile app or the customer portal. And it was an absolutely, smooth sailing journey. And now when you look at it, about 18, 19 months into the pandemic, I think one important factor in communication is going to be multilingual, because as we get into the hinterland of the country, how do we ensure that, your entire digital connect, where the default language of choice is English, how do you ensure that, you speak to the customer, in his language? So one, success story for us has been an app which we launched for farmers in crop insurance. Typically, as you know, they're in the rural parts of the country, and we call it Farm Mitra, and we launched it exclusively, in Indian languages, and that turned out to be a major hit. So that is, the long and short of how, we've managed customer communication in the last 18, 19 months.
Thanks, Deepu. So as you mentioned, it was all there was kind of an unstructured conversation, whereas even the customers used to get about know about a particular policy, or say they actually came across an ad of a particular policy. It might, and the agents they used to just go and check with the customers. It might not actually result in anything, but there was a sort of a communication or relationship before the pandemic situation. So yeah, Vijit, what was your communication strategy during the pandemic?
Hi, Shubha. First of all, I need to know, am I being heard properly now?
Yeah. You're audible.
Okay, yeah. So hello, everyone, and thanks, Shubha. So yes, as rightly mentioned by Deepu, so we were in a or the way we were communicating with the customers was a lot in a different way. And so what I would say is that it was more on in terms of a lot of things going through the inland letters or postcards also in terms of communication, especially for the renewal part. Few things are mandated by the IRD also. So a lot of dependence was that you need a proof of delivery. So dependence on all these postal things were there. And then there was other thing like you are using SMSs or even some emailers. But we all know that even the open rate of this is very poor. Though we are blasting so many emailers to our customers, hardly someone is actually clicking at that also, or it goes into junk. I am sure many of us will see a lot of spam or junk emails from the insurance company. It can be a renewal notice or it can be a claim intimation or something, but our mindset is that, okay, it is something from the pitching perspective only, so that's a sales pitch. So we rarely open that, and this is a sad part. So when pandemic happened, obviously these emails, SMS, and the postal or the courier part was still going on, but the maximum hit was on the physical delivery of the documents to the couriers and all those things. So yes, we had to rely a lot on the emailers, but the sad part of its failures and spam things was still there. WhatsApp was picking up. So it served as a good way to communicate with the customers in details because SMS has certain restrictions. But again, the challenge was that how much updated is your contactability, especially on the insurance part, not so much in the life, but in the general, we all know that the contact information of the customer, especially his mobile number and all, is very less populated. Majority of times, if the business is sourced through an agent, it is the agent's number which we have. So even WhatsApp has got certain limitations in terms of whether you are reaching out to the correct customer or not. Many of the companies, what I have seen is that the focus has shifted to the app. So before the COVID era, apps were there, but the focus was not there. So it was moving in a slow pace. But during the COVID time, we saw that many companies came up with their apps. And the main intention was that, okay, if they download it, maybe the updated communication details will reach out to the insurance company, and also to the push notifications and all those things. The communication can be easily sent out to the customer. If it is very important, a beep or a push notification will help. But other things, if he's opening up his app, he can see the basic details of his policy, when it is getting renewed. If he wants to renew it, can he renew it on the app and all those things. So that started taking predominance. And we all thought that COVID will finish fast initially, we thought. But then it kept on, so the things kept on increasing, and then second wave. And also now I have seen many companies are trying to enhance the scope of the app by even allowing a bit of claim processing also, so that even the dependence of sending hard copies can be cut down. And IRDAI somehow has also given provisions now that, okay, don't depend on the hard copies, even soft copy can do. So we have seen a lot of evolution. And I would say COVID has taught us that there are other better ways, faster ways, economical ways, and quicker ways to reach out to the customer, to communicate with the customer so that he can be kept updated, and you can also update your database. Thank you.
Thanks, Avjit. That was like really insightful. Anshuman, what is your thoughts on, like, what was your strategy? I know, like, now you're actually a board person, but from what you have seen across the industry, what do you think would have been a better strategy, or like what was the best strategy which you saw across the insurance sector?
See, hindsight is a great teacher, but in the middle of a storm, you have to react very fast. I think all my colleagues will concur that the first thing was that you are a service provider, and operations had to continue. And operations continuity means that fundamentally, when you take the basic bare minimum, the contact center needs to continue first. Now, the contact center typically is set up where people come to a central location and run a contact center. That's been the traditional model. So the first thing that had to happen, and where you had the telephony sort of options come in, is to allow people to run a contact center from their individual homes. So the simplest of thing was to make sure that you have the virtual call forwarding which is enabled, so that the contact center agent can actually take the calls from home. In fact, we had situations where the computers and laptops were lying in the contact center. So there were instances where people's phone was mapped and they were simply taking requests and trying to manage from their personal devices, etc. So that's the bare minimum. I have one of my friends I helped who migrated a part of his process from a bank in Dubai back to India, because some bit of their staff was in India and was not able to kind of travel. And they had issues in that region. They actually then proactively shifted staff back to India and said that it makes sense to run some of our processes from a different geography using unified communications model. Thirdly, I think we were already developing an app which is primarily an agent app, because life insurance, being a complex product, requires some bit of face-to-face selling. The only difference that happened during the pandemic is that the selling moved on to a video sort of mode. And because we had the app for the agents, the adoption of the app significantly went up. A lot of the people who were fence sitters who had questions or issues said that let me use the app and it's getting me to work. And thankfully, as far as claims are concerned, we had kind of launched a claim submission on WhatsApp much before the pandemic took place. And it was very simple. It was not very complex, because you see, unfortunately, in life insurance, typically the claim is taken by the nominee, not by the customer, right? The nominee may or may not have the necessary details and requires a lot of hand-holding. So the simplest way we did that was that you could register yourself, call up and say that there is a claim, or a death has occurred, etc. And a WhatsApp number is provided, and all the chat and all the data that can be sent by the customer's family is sent to that WhatsApp. So I think we were able to manage fairly successfully using that, and that kind of brought forth to the fact that information technology or digitization is very, very critical and builds resiliency and efficiency in your operations.
Thanks, Anshuman. Yeah, as you mentioned, the digital transformation was there even before the pandemic also. But the COVID has actually accelerated the digital transformation process. And I suppose the financial sectors and BFSI sector were the first to adopt it and move on as the pandemic was progressing. So to my other panelists, I want to understand how difficult was it to service your customer and communicate with them, especially when the service request or the support request which was raised during the pandemic, and the people were also looking out for instant solutions, be it about medical insurance claim or the other claims and all. How was it done during the pandemic, or how the COVID has accelerated the digital transformation here? So Kamlesh, I would like to hear your thought on that.
So Shubha, thank you. I think what you rightly said, and there is an anecdote, right? To an extent, who's got digital transformation? Is it your CEO? Is it your CTO? Or is it COVID? So indeed, the answer is very evident for all of us. What we have seen is, it is like for an insurance company, always we wanted to push the agenda of digital transformation. It's not that companies have not worked upon that. But essentially, when the clock shifted because of the pandemic, we've seen a huge adoption or consumption, so to speak, from the consumers. We've seen the shift from retail. We've seen the payment transactions suddenly moved to UPI and other internet-based transactions. That's where it's not what insurance companies wanted. It is actually the end consumer wanted to shift to digital, which has actually enabled this entire transformation. That's my take on this particular part. Onto the particular service bit, I think there are many positives or many changes which the insurance companies have demonstrated. In fact, it's true what I think Deepu talked about. Insurance is a push product. And at many instances, lot amount of communications, lot amount of engagements. Earlier, which used to go, and to an extent, Abhijit also talked, used to be on the pen paper format, kind of a bit which goes to the customer, leaving a difficult trail for us to reconcile. But at least with digital communication, not only you have a trail, but also something which we heard in Raman's talk in the presentation. There is a footprint, there is a nudge which is available for the consumer. You know which medium is more acceptable to the customer, which time of the day which the customer is actually opening his emails or he's reviewing his entire communications. What is the best medium to service in a reactive or in a proactive format? I think we've seen all amount of these things, but the bottom line is the consumption from the consumer came up. The mediums were always ready from an insurance point of view. Only it made it more effective and efficient for the insurance companies to reach out to these consumers, and also the adoption from the intermediaries have been completely there on that particular bit.
Thanks, Kamlesh, for your insight. I would like to also ask Priyanka, because you have been leading the digital channel and all those things. So how was it how was the transformation there for you? I mean, your experience on that?
Yeah, a couple of points actually. When the entire industry and the world was hit with COVID, the first thing was to run back to the BCP plan. Now, the shocking news was none of the BCP documents had digital written in it. I was completely lost in that situation that, what, it is all black and blue. It is all about agents. It is all about brokers. And I suddenly felt like my digital channel is now a person who has no parents, no relatives, nothing. We are all alone in this entire soup of things. Having said so, I very firmly believe that necessity is the mother of invention, and it was a very, very adverse time for all of us. There were so many things that were very, very necessary for not only a company to continue its business operations, but also at the same time to address the issues of the customers. Because whatever you do, whatever you say, customer is the king and customer is what the companies make. So basically, I think for us as a company together, the first way to communicate to our customers was to get our distribution network together, the partners, the agents, the brokers, to understand their pain points. How are they going to address the customers? The second bit that we tried to stitch together was the call center team. And of course, the digital assets, which is mobile apps and the website. But the call center team played essentially a very important role in terms of proactively reaching out to the customers. So what I have felt as an experience is the customers were in a state of paranoia. There was an absolute fear. So people were calling left, right, and center on the call center to understand what is the status, rather than they were more interested in buying the product. They were more interested that agar hum corona ki policy le lenge, so we will be given hospitalization immediately or not? Will there be a waiting period or not? These questions, the awareness on the insurance product was the challenge. And that's where we understood that it is not about selling the insurance product anymore. It is about making people, customers aware and calm down regarding the situation. And hence we saw the spike in the business numbers as well. So when we say that the COVID period has seen a spike in the business numbers in the insurance business, it is really out of paranoia and fear that the customers were going berserk and trying to figure out a way to, honestly, that's the reason why insurance companies exist in the first place, to transfer the customer risk to the other person. But yes, that is essentially what has happened. And the most important thing is, like Abhijit has also mentioned, he was bang on in his observation that the read or the opening rates of the emails and the SMSs have drastically gone down. It's less than 1%, and it is the biggest challenge of my digital channel to get and connect with the customer. Having said so, WhatsApp served us really better in this pandemic time. People had responded very positively towards WhatsApp. It was to an extent that we had gone to hyper personalized communication that is being sent to the customer, because one thing that I understood was, this is the same customer who's talking about Arogya Sanjeevani policy. This is the same customer who is fighting on the Corona Kavach policy. This is the same customer who's talking about the motor insurance policy. So how do I take the top of mind recall or the mind space of the customer? That is where we approached SaaS-based automation companies who could automate our marketing campaigns. And we started sending it to customers on WhatsApp, and they were allowed to click on those advertisements and campaigns and fill the details and get onto the payment page as fast as possible. Like Raman also mentioned, this was a time when it was very important for the agents to also feel secure about their business. They were not very tech savvy. They had no control because they are the people who like to walk in to their relationships with whom they have formed for so many years. And, over a cup of chai, over a cup of coffee, they used to have, sir, aajkal kya ho raha hai? Politics discuss karte hain, Bollywood discuss karte hain, and then they used to sell the insurance policies. Suddenly, this conversation, that camaraderie, that warmth was taken away. And at the same time, they thought that they don't have any access to their customers. So it was very important for us to give them that tech assistance to reach out to their customers and get those renewals into place or the new policy sales into place so that they don't feel clipped off. And honestly, this particular attachment, this particular service relationship between the insurance company and the agents has laid a very, very strong foundation. And we have seen that the engagement of our partners have gone very high. So for example, in a month, if my partner, active partner percentage was say around 30 to 35%, it has suddenly gone up to 60-65%. Why? Because there is some kind of loyalty, some kind of trust that is being built and shown by the partner towards us. Because we were able to protect the customer, yes, we were targeting our business, yes, but at the same time, we were trying to protect our partners' interests as well. So yeah, so this was, what I'll say is multi-pronged service and communication strategy towards partners, towards our customers, and also towards our employees. Because there was a time wherein people didn't know what to do. Their families were struggling. They were personally struggling and getting infected. And that was a time when all these things were also put into motion with minimum bandwidth, with minimum manpower. So yes, it was a challenging time, but I would say that the automated solutions, the SaaS-based companies are doing extremely well in the industry to help not only BFSI sector, but other sectors as well. So yeah, that's about my experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Priyanka. That was like really insightful. Deepu, you are heading the customer experience. So I think so, what was your experience in managing the pandemic situation, especially in the service side? So yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah. So I'll just keep it brief. Essentially, like I said, nobody was prepared for COVID-19. And I think, the fact that, we had embarked on this digital transformation journey, in advance of COVID-19, helped us. That's why, like I mentioned earlier, thanks to a massive communication exercise, we were able to gravitate customers towards our digital assets. If you look at it, from an overall perspective, if you look at the last 18 months, I think at that time, the accent, like all my fellow panelists have said, the accent was basically on digitizing the physical, right? Because everybody was trying to work from home and give people access to software and, ensure that, the whole thing was carrying on digitally. Now that we spent about 18-19 months, and even if you look at general conversation, today the accent has shifted to humanizing the digital. How do you bring in, the consistency and the efficiency of bots? Yet, since customers do not come to you during their good times, but come to you when they want empathy, how do you give, a healing touch? So I think, that's where, the whole communication as well as, servicing, paradigm is shifting. And that's what we're focused on now. How do we get the best of both man and machine?
Yeah. Thanks, Deepu. That was really insightful. So yeah, as Priyanka and Anshuman Abhijit had mentioned, pandemic has actually it has actually accelerated the digital transformation process, and it has obviously taken a huge amount of infrastructure because during the pandemic, the customer expectation, as Priyanka mentioned, has changed completely. And when the customer is actually, they are coming to you, they are calling to check about the product sales or services. They are probably, they want an instant, they want to know instant information also. And they are also comparing buying an insurance products with the other e-commerce app or they are, so the insurance sector is not only just competing with the other competitors, it is also competing with the other 10 different sectors. So my question is like, with the changed entire approach, which is moving towards the customer centric, how difficult from the infrastructure standpoint, as well as the communication channel, was it to shift the entire insurance sector from the old ways or the conventional ways? So after Balvi, like, your thoughts on the infrastructure part, like, what you had to do, like, how the transformation was made, how were you able to spend money or like, allocate money for the transformation for the in the infrastructure part?
So thanks, Subha, and good evening, everybody. I think everybody has given the most effective insight on these things. In my opinion, you can say I'm a very old part of a school. The digital transformation is what? I mean, without the visibility into the application, release processes that deliver customer value. An enterprise is unable to effectively manage its digital transformation. So during the pandemic, I've learned two things. One, the payments are being started digitally. The customers are started stop giving checks and all. And second thing is these Zoom and Hangout meetings. Except these two learnings of COVID. Second, the major digital transformation challenges center around people. It is easy to replicate the technology, organizational structure, and workflow of digital transformation. The technology may be straightforward. The technology may be straightforward, but the people are not. So the modern software development tools and processes enable new workflows that organizations need time to adapt and optimize. In my opinion, it is difficult. Basically, if you wanted to be, because I'm not whatever I can say with the experience of my company. So we are basically motor insurance company, and we have 98% portfolio is motor, and that too in commercial segment. So a truck operator, it is very difficult for a truck operator to adopt this digital transformation because the ultimate end is the claim. In insurance, like very well Priyanka said, that people are asking मेरी इस policy का क्या होगा या इसके बाद मेरे को hospital मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा. That they are not interested in taking the policies because government has given the time period. RTO offices are closed, vehicles are not on the road. So it was not a major chaos for getting the business. It is the good time, like say Shriram, it is the good time when we interacted agents through and the tool of WhatsApp. Generally, the agency force are not very familiar to emails. They just making the email because they have to open bank account. Otherwise, they are not used to savvy of communicating on mails. So WhatsApp is the tool. So the culture, the most significant obstacle to achieving the digital goal is culture, behavioral changes. Digital transformation requires significant structural and processes changes, in my opinion. So digital strategy and vision, if I say, the companies are under a great deal of market pressure to deliver software applications faster to their customers. As a result, they tend to focus more on the tools and operational and states, but promising performance benefit of the value of those performances. You can make the good platform, like I think Deepu or Kamlesh, someone has told about the usage of apps. Now people are more friendly with using the apps. They can issue the policies, they can use and second, like the Abhijit said, the peculiar problem is with the agent, he is not ready to share the contacts details of their customers. All the policies, if I wanted to say some messages or the renewal message to my agents, wo number agent ka hoga. If he is having 100 customers with me, I'm sure that 80% are having the number of agent only. They think that maybe insurance companies can talk to directly my customer and things like that. So digitally, I think it is a good move. Like in life insurance, the customer is not there for taking claim. And in our sectors, customer is there. We have to give services. If motor insurance, if the frequency is 10%, then I have to pay 10% claim to the customer. So the involvement will provide the customers and the company. Customers, if it is B2C, then I think digital transformation is slightly okay. But the moment will come to B2B, I'm not going to discuss business. All the learned panelists know how this B2C and B2B working nowadays. How the customer is visiting on the policy bazaar, checking the rates, and come back to agent again and say, "Sir, आप उधर इतना premium मांगते हो, sir. इधर मेरे को इतने में policy मिलता है." He don't know that online, breaking the rules of Vahan, people are issuing a truck policy on a two-wheeler policy. Yesterday I was in Vijayawada and Guntur. Agent came to me, the customer came to me, he is having a policy of truck, and when I checked in our records, it's a policy of two. So, I mean, digitalization is good, but the adoption level should be, in my opinion, more. For IT infrastructure and digital expertise, many traditional incumbent enterprises rely at least in a part of an inflexible technology and support of applications. Many companies having created organizational structures and optimized the department internal objectives. I think the moment it comes to, like our speaker when I was showing, to underwriting or claims management, there will be fine, like you have to upload the photographs, surveyor will upload the photographs, and the person who is sitting in head office, he can manage the things and he can settle the claim. But interaction between agent and the customer, or customer between the customer and the company, is more important. I think the apps, the digital platform have to go a long way for this. This is in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm very, because Deepu is here and all the people like Priyanka, they are digitally doing things. So I'm the person who is FOS, the fleet on the street. So I mean, this is the practical problem I'm telling.
Yeah. Obviously, like, maybe as you said, we are all like, moving towards a hybrid model. So obviously, like, even if it is going to be like an app or the modern cloud telephony or automated calls, there should be like, a person should be sitting at the other end, like, that is always there. But yeah, thanks Aftab for your insight. Abhijit, can you just like, probably throw a slide about how the infrastructure change happened for your organization?
So it's a known fact. See, COVID happened in 2019 when we faced with all these things. But if you see from 2015 onwards, a lot of insurance companies were exploring options to digitalize their existing processes. And you have also heard from many of the panelists that few things they already had even before the COVID times, like some app and all those things. So, but what was happening was that I think the flow was getting bottlenecked somewhere. So what COVID did was it gave you no other option than to fast track everything. So all those things for digitalization that was held up in the pipeline, that got a very big push. And due to which things started moving very fast, because it was like do or die now. Everything is under lockdown. Agent is not able to deposit or give the check or give the proposal form. You don't have online means and all those things. So that is from the booking perspective. The other perspective is from the customer side, that he is not able to go to the hospital. That is one aspect, but the other aspect is that whatever reimbursement claims are there, so he's not able to again deposit, send it through courier to all of you. So a lot of things were thought about, and since it fast tracked all the things, so starting from UAT or the vendor selection, finalization, costing approvals, and also that got really fast tracked and quick approvals. So moving the things were made easy. Due to this type of, I would say, overall pressure that was coming in order to meet the customers' need and requirement. It also brought in certain changes in the way the business was done, especially on the digital aspect. Like many companies would have some agency portals where they had created a portal that agents should punch in the proposal by themselves. But They never used to do that. They used to prefer to come to branches to deposit the form. Now there is no other option. So existing things which were lying dormant, they again became active. So people started using the portals. They learned, they had to learn. They started making a bit of mistakes. That's okay, but the adoption increased. And I think once these things started happening, we were able to see a lot of traction from these people to learn about these things more. So we had to, one, give them more ease, create adequate learning tools so that they understand it more. So one is providing ease, one is how to make them understand, and then open all those channels. Like we also never envisaged that at the same time 200 agents will be simultaneously logging to the portal, because that never used to happen. Now 1,000 people are logging. So is the system capable enough to even maintain that many logs at the same time and all? So these two type of things. So one is you are getting the things used to or created, another is you are maintaining the already existing things that is there. So it was very fun, and it gave us a lot of learning also, because the situation was different. But I would say the biggest good thing that happened was people started understanding and taking these things positively. So the learning rate increased, not only for the agents, but for the sales force internally, as well as for the customers. Now we see that the way the people are punching the policy, so the pressure on our operations teams has come down. We see agents punching in the proposal forms more easily. We see our customers using our apps more. Also from the hospital side, I would see we are seeing hospitals also now checking on the electronic mode of transfer of the documents instead of the hard copies and all. And since we have OPD products also, so we are seeing a lot of uptake of telemedicine consultations from our customers who want to avail instead of a live visit or going for the OPD consultation. And we are seeing a lot of uptake of our online app in terms of booking up of medical test or ordering pharmacies and all. So all these things is not only now bringing a better customer delight, the shift has been enormous, and we have been able to manage the increasing flow of the customers into the system. But also we are seeing the better feedback, better customer delight. And in the end of the day, all these things were devised for the customer usage, and somewhere it was to help in controlling his sum insured exhaustion. So that also is not happening. So he's able to keep a better track of his sum insured in case of especially the OPD part and the pharmacy part. And indirectly, it's a saving for us also, because a lot of operational mundane activities have come down. So I would say in all, the adaptation initially took time, but the push made it happen fast. And now we are seeing the good benefits out of this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Avjit. It was like really insightful. So, like, moving on, obviously, because of pandemic, it has pushed the insurance sector for omni-channel communication. I mean, from the sales or from the service point of view, there are AI or machine learning being involved, or chatbot, WhatsApp, automated bot calls. After since you're after Shah, since you're already in sales, so what was your channel strategy specifically, keeping sales in mind? Which channel, your agents used a lot? Was it calling, or was it through like WhatsApp, or what was your channel strategy around it? And coming for the future, what channel strategy which you will keep in mind for the future?
Sure, Subha. I think a lot of valid points have been made in the last 15 minutes, whether it's coming from Deepu, where it speaks about insurance being a push product, or whether Priyanka said it comes about the challenge that she has on the ground, spreading awareness. I think even Abhijit, Kamlesh, and Anshuman and Aftab is very valid points. Just to give you a little background, I represent a company called Alliance Insurance Brokers, and we run a online portal which is called elephant.in. Our business model is predominantly where we do business with corporate employees for their retail insurances. So for us, creating that omnipresence communication through various channels and reaching out to that corporate employee across different mechanisms, whether that's social media to Facebook or LinkedIn or WhatsApp, or of course, your email marketing campaigns.
After
I think we lost him because of the network. Yeah, he has a network issue from there, his end.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Ekta. So by the time maybe after comes back, Kamlesh, probably you can give your views on like, you know, how AI and ML, like, you know, those use cases in the insurance sector, how do you think it will impact the channel? Like, you know, what will be your channel strategy? Probably, like, you know, you can share your insights. Kamlesh, you're on mute.
Sorry, that's the technology dilemma all of us have. But I think I'll extend let Aftab come back. But essentially, Shubha, if I were to provide you the use case and the success what we've seen, I think all insurance companies, be it an LI or a GI or even health, if I were to look at, we're moving to a next set of evolution. You know, we are capitalizing our digital transformation where we've gone kind of converted our processes from paper to digital fulfillment. We are actually now moving to our next set of intelligent output. And I would say that both AI, ML, and certain amount of machine learning programs what we have deployed are largely in three areas. One is in order to kind of pitch a right solution to our customers in order to make sure basis the demographics, basis the need, you kind of pitch them the solution, making the task easier for your distribution folks. In order, not only doesn't, you know, the machine learning and the AI part not only helps you with the selection of right solution, it also kind of have an ability to identify basis appropriate form of risk management, saying that which is the geography, which is the cohort, which is the type of a profile which is more suitable from an insurance point of view, and also from a claims perspective. So there are certain amount of machine learning algorithms which are run at the back end in order to not only shortlist the customer, but also do profiling and do certain amount of underwriting in a pre-approved offers, including for that matter at the renewal stage, you kind of give him an enhanced cover or an enhanced policy to the individual or its own family members. The second part is what we've seen, you know, the ML part, you know, creating wonders from an insurance point of view, is the whole piece on revenue collection as well as customer retention, where essentially we are talking about, and it's a combination of what we spoke about a little while before in Raman's presentation also, talking about how which is the medium you're communicating to the customer. Are you, you know, when the customer is not contactable, which is the medium he's actually picking it up, which is the time of the day, whether this person is into a red, amber or green cohort, you do the deciling of the customers. And overall, you're kind of able to create certain amount of intelligent allocations, saying that if it is a hard customer or within the hard bucket, you're kind of creating a field on street interventions or probably engaging the distribution much in advance, or maybe using certain amount of auto debit mandates in order to make sure your persistency is kind of almost in the green zone, as compared to which you have to move into a more hardworking part. And last part, you know, is the AI use case which we have is largely on the customer service. In fact, more and more, as I told you little while before, we are seeing technology being consumed by customer in a very intelligent manner, as well as they are kind of reaching out, you know, even now, obviously not as much as COVID, but even now when the physical channels are opened up, we are seeing a good chunk of customers coming on website and doing the transactions in a DIY mode. So if you have the pattern, you have the behavior of the customer, can you make it more proactive rather than reactive? Where the customer needs renewal statements, premium statements, when the customer needs certain amount of his fund value under the particular policies, and so on and so benefit from a tax perspective, you are actually able to do it in a proactive manner rather than making it more reactive. So these are three things which I wanted to share with the group. I'm sure group is using AI ML in a far evolved manner, but you know, I thought these are three relevant use cases for this panel.
Thanks, Kamlesh. So after, sorry, you've come back, you got interrupted. So you have any points to add for?
Yeah, some technological challenge of mine, you know, when it comes to the internet. But anyways, I think the point I was trying to make is, I agree with what Kamlesh just said in terms of how important AI and ML plays a role when it comes to profiling a particular customer. Something very similar that we are doing at Elephant.in in terms of profiling a customer, where we have an AI called Lakshmi, who's like a chatbot or an artificial intelligence, which kind of understands the requirement of the customer by asking a certain set of questions. And then, of course, at the back end, where we have these integration and API running with various insurance companies, Lakshmi would probably recommend the product, which is probably the closest fitment from what the customer is looking at. But I think the customer today in an online environment, while is looking at the cheapest product, but I think if the customer is being educated in the right manner, or the customer is being told, okay, this is a product you need to buy, and why. I'm sure consumers online, we've seen a trending shift in the last about 12 to 18 months where customers don't mind paying a little more as far as they're being told what are they buying, why are they buying it, what is the value in that particular product. That's what we are doing at Elephant.in with regards to this AI. And of course, I think the hyper personalization plays a very important role as well when it comes to the insurtech world. What we do there is when a corporate employee comes onto again our portal, which is Elephant.in, the system recognizes that individual employee that is coming in from an XYZ corporate. The system recognizes and therefore the system congratulates him for putting up certain exclusive products for that particular individual. This gives a lot of sense of confidence to the individual customer when he's coming onto a portal that, listen, he is not just an individual, that he is an individual which is being recognized by the system through his credentials. He's an individual which is being shown a product which is probably the closest fit or the requirement that he's looking at. So I think hyper personalization in various forms, whether when the customer is doing the journey on an online portal, or whether when we are sending out communications in different digital forums through his first name and last name, then sending out products that what a customer requires. Of course, that comes in after you understand the customer requirement, and of course, data is the key. Data is new, the new cryptocurrency they say. So I think analyzing the data through this artificial intelligence and machine learning plays a very critical role. And I think the future probably is, having a kind of a shared virtual environment where all your different mechanisms in an online world, whether it's your social media or emails or WhatsApp or SMS, somewhere it recognizes the identity of the customer. As Priyanka said, in terms of the same customer could buy multiple insurance policies. So having the database and ensuring you're putting up the right product to the customer through these different channels plays a very important role in terms of ensuring the customer gets the right value when he's buying a product in an online digital manner. I think that's from my side.
Thanks, Aftab. I mean, we were all talking about digitalization, omni-channel communication. We all have this is all for the tech-savvy urban population, which is one part. But there are the rural and semi-urban population where we also say smartphones are penetrated, but there are still a fair amount of population who don't use smartphones. They are also there. So what is your strategy was to to communicate with them, that too, especially during the pandemic? Was it primarily through calls or through SMS? So Deepu sir, probably you can just share your insights on that.
No, it's a good question, Subha. I think the whole idea is, how do you cater to, folks on both sides of the digital divide? And if you notice, I made a reference to two aspects, in my earlier reply. One was around the fact that, you need to go where the customer is, right? You can't ask the customer to come to you. So I did make a reference to how we need to go multilingual, because, digital assets by default, tend to be in English. So I did share an example of how, we came out with an app for farmers, which was exclusively in Indian languages. So that's one aspect, by which you reach out to people in the semi-urban rural parts of India. The other is to your point around, bandwidth challenges. I know, just as you have a range of products, I think what's also important, for example, is to have a light version of your app, something which can work on, let's say, 2G, right? Because as your telecom bandwidth is not consistent. So similarly, if you can have, lighter and, richer versions of your app, then you're able to, cater to customers across the entire spectrum. And the third point that you spoke about, in terms of, going to customers beyond smartphones, today, the good thing is, you have a range of, communication options available, right? You spoke about SMS, people spoke about speaking about the call center. You have, bots, you have portals, you have apps, you have WhatsApp, right? You also have, a lot of, rural areas, such as CSCs where customers can walk in. So today, I think, you have a range of assets. So I think reach is not an issue. I think what is important is to ensure consistency, because while you have a, plethora of channels, sometimes you may find that, your experience is not common across all. So I think that becomes, a challenge for, for firms. But I think with a combination of, multilingual, light and rich version of apps, and of course, ensuring consistent omnichannel experience, today, it is for firms, the onus is on them, to reach out to the hinterland. The tools are available, and it's theirs to lose. If you look at it from a game perspective, it is theirs to lose.
Thanks, Tipu. That was insightful. So Anshuman, what's your view on that? Like, what was your strategy for, like, what was the strategy that was like implemented for rural or semi-urban population?
See, largely the couple of things. Life insurance still to a large extent is, sold through people, right? As I said before, what helped the organization very significantly was the fact that we were developing, an app for the insurance agent. And we had been, doing that for the last couple of years, and, continuously almost doing a monthly release and adding features. And as Deepu rightly mentioned, we took into account the issues related to telecom networks, bandwidth. So, specific features like having local storage on the device, syncing in off-peak times. In fact, we did a lot of work in terms of using specific technology for compression. So when you upload, let's say, a photograph of a certain ID type of document, etc., how are you effectively able to compress that particular document before you kind of do that? The other thing that helped adoption of this app was the fact that we spent a lot of time building a very strong middleware on the cloud. So in effect, the app itself became fairly light. We had only one version of the app. But however, a lot of heavy lifting was done on the middleware in the cloud. Elastic Cloud, Elastic Database, compression, etc. So a lot of this fact that the agent was able to sell effectively to the customer locally happened. That is one. The second thing obviously was that, you had to create a lot of simple bite-sized communications. So WhatsApp again was the primary channel. What we essentially did was to create a lot of these small below the line marketing material across the major regional languages, which was perpetuated either to specific customers or specific sales channels. So let us say the typical query was, will the death claim under COVID be covered? Does my policy cover COVID? How do I renew my policy, etc.? Those are the top of the line questions. And of course, life insurance does not have these kind of exclusions in place. So the first thing was to reassure, while the website, as you rightly said, is in English. So the first thing was to have a banner in bold on the website saying that your claims are covered by COVID. There was a set of letters sent out to customers on email. And plus, as we know that emails may or may not have that sort of penetration or open rates, etc., we followed it up by WhatsApp communication through our sales and our other channels to make sure that if there is any customer query, we are able to send a WhatsApp. Any call coming to the call center, we were able to send a WhatsApp update saying that, sir, just give us your latest number. We will send you a confirmation from the company side that the policy, covers. The second thing customers wanted was that if they had a certain servicing request, how can they, kind of reach us? Again, we had to reiterate that, the numbers are open. You can also reach us through email. You can also kind of, communicate through WhatsApp. In fact, not really during COVID, but previously when you had the floods in Kerala, there was a situation where even our local offices were affected fairly badly. So using cloud telephony, we were able to set up virtual help desk for customers, which are mapped onto specific people. There is an IRDA requirement that whenever you have a disaster sort of a situation, you're supposed to process claims in an expeditious manner and set up help desk. So even that instance, what we were able to do was advertise a local number which involved local staff and other people, which was mapped onto specific people so that it was able to handle the capacity. So you used a multi-pronged approach in order to kind of take this issue of reaching out to the rural or the semi-urban customer.
Yeah, thanks, Anshuman. That was like really insightful. So yeah, because of like I think so, like we are already like reached the time limit. Probably like before we close the session, probably I just want like a concluding statement. Do you think? I mean, yeah, the pandemic. Hopefully the pandemic will end. But as more people are starting to move towards the office. What do you think, the cloud communication, obviously, people have started working in the hybrid work model and all those things, and all these digital transformation that we have made towards the last 2 years. How do you think, will it stay, or what is your concluding statement? How do you see the future for both be it cloud telephony system or a cloud communication system, how the digital transformation is going to stay for the future? So Priyanka, maybe you can share your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think this entire digital transformation, digital adaptation, or digital journey of the customer, employee, as well as the organization, this is going to stay. This is a perennial necessity now. So basically, we had fundamentals of roti, kapda, and makan. I think now Wi-Fi, AI, machine learning, NLP, these are the basic fundamentals with which we have to live. And honestly, when you speak about the infrastructure and reaching out to the rural urban population, I think there is so much of awareness driven by the government agendas, the multinational corporations, and as well as education sectors and students coming out of good universities and so on and so forth. I don't think there is a girth of technology reach that is missing in these areas. Yes, there was a time when we were very keen to explore bottom of pyramid, but I think the companies like HUL and other FMCG companies have already explored it, and now every small city is very well optical fiber cable connected with other cities, and I don't think there is a network issue, and this is going to stay. This is definitely going to stay, whether you are going to work from home, whether you're going to work from office, or is it a hybrid kind of a situation. The customers are well aware of their boundaries and limits and how much they can push it. And even the organizations, they were daft slow in terms of their adaptation of complete digitization. But now the forces are aligned, and the organizations do not have an answer to neither to an employer, neither to a customer, that why we cannot sell it over the website or a mobile application. Having said so, I personally feel that we have been talking about, we talk a lot about, adapting digital processes will bring down the, cost of operations, and the return on investment is going to be higher. According to me, when I say that I lead the digital business, the economy of scale with digitization, setting up the entire infrastructure, IT investment, so on and so forth, takes time. So that's a burnout. That's a cash burnout, and that's not going to get recovered until and unless you achieve that scale after 5 years or after 4 years. So to answer your question, why I brought this point is, if you break that journey, if you break that process now, and then try to return back to your normal, I will not say orthodox, but yes, your pre-COVID situation business models, then this is a sunk cost for you. You are never going to see the return on the investment that you have made and the progress that you have made in the different projects in this 2 years or during the period of COVID. And touch wood, I mean, God's grace, if tomorrow we are hit with another adversity or pandemic-like situation, I think we should be ready for Industry 4.0. The evolution and the way the business is conducted has to be completely looked into a different manner. It's already been looked. People are adopting to, like Anshuman was also mentioning about cloud telephony. This is one of the very essential factors around which the whole digital sales revolve around: the connectivity of CMS and CRM, the whole call center piece, the campaign management solution. So yes, it's extremely important now. And the infrastructure, there's a huge shift in the infrastructure, and adaptation and adopting cloud communication, cloud-based technology, whether it is Amazon-based solution, Net4 solutions, Salesforce solutions, doesn't matter. But some sort of solution would be at the helm of every organization to take this particular piece forward.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thank you. Thank you so much. Abhijit, your final concluding statement on your views on the digital transformation, the cloud communication. Do you think what is going to be the future?
Cloud communication is the future. There is no doubt about it. Gone are the days when we think that everything will be done internally, and you have to create that massive infrastructure to do that. There's a lot of positive aspects of the cloud part in this, in terms of the scalability, and more importantly, in terms of the security. And because you not only can scale very fast, scale up, but you don't have to worry too much about what are the various security things you need to install and all, because it's a full ecosystem in itself with a lot of strong firewalls running, and then state-of-the-art technology to keep it updated on. So it gives us a lot of comfort nowadays to explore options where the cloud is there. And India is not having a proper data privacy law or the data security policy, though the draft has been made, and there's a committee which is already working extensively on that. But we are still relying on the Information Technology Act currently, though we have seen the GDPR and all being enforced in the other the European part and all. So till the time strong policies come up, I think the facilities who are providing the cloud setup, they are complying to many of the international policies, and that gives a lot of comfort. And I think we should all explore that, how we can quickly adopt to this. At the same time, we have to keep the costs under control. But yes, with a lot of new players in the market, I think this is something which is to be looked after, and we are pretty excited to slowly move towards this space. And currently what I see is that no company is 100% into this, but yes, I would say more than 50% shift has happened. So let's hope that in next 3 to 5 years, we see more shifting of various policies or the communication aspect, even the data storing aspect into the cloud space.
Thanks, Abhijit. So yeah, absolutely. It has been an enthralling discussion today. It was great engaging with all of you. Ekta, probably we'll just open the floor for questions, or and then we can just end with a concluding statement.
Sure. So I've already mentioned in the chat box, audience is like, do we have any questions? You can please raise your hands or directly put to our speakers here. Since we're already over time, we'll at least try taking at least 1 or 2 questions if we have any. Hi, I think Shubha, the panel was so engaging and interesting that we don't have any questions coming in. And yes, so because even in the chat box, I don't see any questions coming in. So I think all the speakers have covered it so wonderfully, to be very honest. So any questions or anything, Shubha, we'll connect you personally with the audiences, with the Exotel, if they want to know more about your cloud communication solutions. I hope that works, right?
Sure, Ekta.
Sure. So I think we should go for a close now on the final thoughts. Yes?
Yes, Ekta. So
yeah.
Thanks everyone for this wonderful evening. I really had a great time in listening to all your, all the industry leaders and like, you know, how you have adopted to the current time, because over the last year and a half, like obviously we have seen a lot of changes in the way, like, you know, how the insurance sector works. And at Exotel, you know, we kind of had a front seat to the transformation. While we always do, like, you know, cloud communication is to change how enterprise look at the customer interaction. This pandemic has definitely, you know, kind of accelerated the change. Obviously, you know, the BFSI sector generally has been, like, you know, the fastest in adapting to these changes. And like, you know, you guys have actually, you know, become pioneer in using the technology to satisfy the customer demands. Like as Priyanka, you know, kind of rightly mentioned, we wanted to take away the physical touch point. It is important to invest in different technology and process to anticipate the needs of the customer and to, like, you know, kind of provide a really personalized experience. And on the other perspective, obviously, like, you know, we started discussing from the employees or, like, you know, the agent's point of view, where the jobs have suddenly become deskless, and we have always like, you know, kind of maintained at Exotel, we want to remove the center from the call center. And what we mean is, like, you know, obviously there are conversations happening outside your call center. These are like, you know, kind of happening outside your traditional setup, where, like, you know, the real business happen, the voice of customers. These conversations Exotel kind of believes, like, you know, should be washed and harnessed for a better customer experience. These are the conversation, you know, that can define the brand, and all of us, you know, kind of moving forward towards a hybrid model for working from the shift of a remote center. And like, obviously, you know, the shift from a traditional setup to a remote setup should be happening seamlessly. Once again, you know, I kind of thank all the panel for taking out of their time and sharing their experiences in reimagining the customer communication as they see it today. Thank you so much.
So yes, thank you on this closure note. I would also like to thank our partner Exotel and all our thought leaders. Really, thank you so much for taking out your precious time in this busy time pre-Diwali weekend, and not missing our lovely audience. Thank you again for your participation. We really appreciate it. I hope you all had a great session listening to all our thought leaders. We shall be sharing the video with you like on Monday. And everyone, a very happy Diwali. Please take care of yourself and stay safe. Thank you so much once again, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.